Top 5 crash outs of all time. If that was me in a position where somebody I cared for to the absolute E ends up basically just getting hoed in all sorts of directions, also finding out that they're gonna get guillotined, and for this show's reference of what a guillotine is when you basically are a chick and you basically are forced to get somebody else's meat up inside you like that. In the same ways for the reverse for a guy, if I found out something like that was happening to someone I had hella big feelings for, I would be sick to the absolute bottom of my whole ass stomach. For certain, I will not necessarily be some random Sutter dude anymore on this channel. I would be a certified Floridian, because I'm crashing out. I'd crash out too. I ain't gonna just be screaming, my ass is getting the blick ready. He has a blick, so it's time to actually to put that shit to use. It is what it is at this damn point. It genuinely is. Now, I know I haven't talked about Nukitashi for about 3 Fridays now at this point, but when it comes down to it, there just hasn't been anything more lewd to kind of talk about, because the story has been trying to take itself a bit more seriously in what it wants to do. And to be honest, I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot, honestly. And this is kind of the sort of anime I've been looking for this entire time. If anything of what I've actually been watching has been nothing but ecchi shows. And honestly, in the video that I want to do talking about making the perfect ecchi show, essentially this is kind of the problem that I usually typically run into, is that shows don't really take themselves too seriously, and it's just a comedy ecchi show, which that's fine and that's okay, but I would like to see an ecchi show that actually has some sort of bite to it, right? DxD does it, but then I don't really give two shits about Issei. He can die in a whole ass rotting trench for all I care, and they usually get the main character wrong in a lot of these ecchi shows, like Makina-san's is a love robot and stuff like that. It's never really good, and sometimes it's just not necessarily hidden the way it should. But Nukitashi actually, for the first time in my personal opinion, or at least maybe the second time, because Fire Force, but it's like one of the first shows that actually got it right, where they actually balance out a lot of the seriousness, they can do comedy, and they also can really just show you how lewd the show can actually get. This is easily one of the better ecchi shows I've seen in a long while, or at least one of the ecchi shows that really stood out to me that isn't the typical standard of what an ecchi show can typically actually do, right? This is actually, and I'll even go a step further, the whole reason as to why JS64 exists on this channel is because I wanted to write my own story of an ecchi sort of thing, but also keep it in some serious sort of levels as well, because why the hell not? No other show really does that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it too. And this one actually hits all the right areas of what I wanted to see an ecchi show actually do. First, this man go ahead and join the FS, basically be on that very same brigade that just be on, time and trying to get everybody to clap cheeks, because it's the literal law in that whole island. And it's just straight up chaos. It's just straight up chaos. Like, man's basically blocking bullets with his whole ass meat. Now his meat was being put on a wanted poster, and I don't think I can show you that wanted poster because it's literally the size of a whole ass dick, so it's not really much I can do there. And it's just a lot of wild stuff, but at the same time, as funny and as wild as it still is grounded into what the show actually feels like, and that's amazing to me, and I love that very much. It's something, again, I don't typically usually really see, and I put this anime, honestly, in a high sense of regard. Now, granted, also found out that there is also other routes that they could have gone down, because obviously this is a visual novel and such, so it's not necessarily just stick to one route. There's like something called the Yakuza route. I have no clue what that is. I need to know what that is, because I don't know what that is. But when it comes down to it, though, they're going down the Nanase route, obviously. But when it comes to it, though, it's just like, it does make me curious to check out the actual visual novel itself, because I'm just like, alright, so what other routes could they have possibly went down when it comes down to it, right? Is it just the Yakuza route and that's it? Or is there other routes they could have gone down? And then maybe, is those other routes going to be animated in an OVA? Is there going to be like an actual Gensai version of this show and actually show the finer details of what they couldn't show in the actual anime? Which I really hope they do that. But you know, you never really know. And honestly, again, I really hope we see something cool once everything is done airing. If it is really just 11 episodes, which I feel like they will sneak in an OVA. I feel like that's just how it is. I don't see them not doing that, and if they don't do that, I'm gonna be very much weirded out that that's basically the case. But still, nonetheless though, it is what it is when it comes down to it, you know? Still, the show is just very good overall in what it tries to do and what it wants to be, and it's not really, again, holding back outside of the censorship. It's not really holding back on what it wants to be and what it wants to do, because they will commit to it. We also end up getting the backstory of, you know, Jun as well, which is essentially, you know, what happened with him and, you know, what made him go down this route of wanting to destroy everything. And it was basically Nanase in the past, and he tried to force himself on Nanase because he was, you know, basically afraid that, oh, at some point in time, she's going to get clapped by somebody that she probably don't care for in some ways that she don't really like. So you know what? I'm just going to use my Giga Dick and try to basically force my way to clap her cheeks, which is kind of wild that happened. It is kind of wild. You don't typically see that sort of thing too much when it comes down to, you know, anime in terms of like actual shows with Lolly and Shota. You don't really see that much. I thought that was actually going to go for full completion, but obviously Nanase stopped that before that ended up happening, and you know, that's just how it was. But now basically the same thing kind of happens again, where Jun is basically forced to kind of just dip away and essentially has no choice but to leave Nanase behind. And now Nanase is in all kinds of trouble. Again, she's about to get guillotined with her coup. It's not necessarily a great time, and a valid crash out is destined to happen, honestly, because this man couldn't necessarily put himself in a position to screw over the FS while he was a part of the FS. Which, granted, I understand. They're just people at the end of the day just trying to do what they need to do. And it would be kind of hard for me to just say, nah, F the FS, when someone like Ikuko is on the damn team. I'm sorry. She has my meat in a damn cage. It's in a damn deadlock of coup when it comes down to her. It is what it is. But honestly, the more this show goes on, the more each week I'm kind of just like, where does this go in my favorite anime of all time list, right? Because obviously there's shows that just can't be beat. But then it's like shows like this that make me really want to consider doing an actual list like that for a video and kind of figure out, where does that show go? Is it somewhere in the top 5? Does it beat out something that's really high up on the list I very much consider to be one of the more goated top 3? Like, I don't know. I don't know where Nukitashi actually goes right now. And it's all challenging to put that in a top best anime list of all time when it comes down to it. And honestly, so far, I'm not gonna lie, I really actually like the female cast of this show, right? Now granted, there is some moments where I'm kind of like, you know what, it would've been nice if we got to see more of the purple hair chick with the big tits, or we got to see what else is in Fumino's bag of what she actually is, and you know, all that sort of stuff. That would be nice if we got to see more of that. There is also the fact that, you know, we didn't really get to see much of Nanase bust it down. We see her bust it down a few times, but not nearly as much as I would imagine that we would, right? I feel like we got more other stuff than we actually got of Nanase, actually, the more I think about it. It's kind of strange. But, you know, I would like to see the sister get down and dirty in some shape and form as well. You know, even though she's into women, but still would like to see some booba from the sister, or in something like that. You know, there's things that obviously you can sit here and nitpick that you didn't really see too much of. It's kind of like plus size elf for me, where it's like, dang, I really want to see Laika's titties, but honestly, I want to see them wolf titties, but we didn't see much of that until like the very end of the damn series, which is a bit of a shame. But, you know, ultimately, there's still fun to be had here. Again, this show very much has me just ready and anticipated for like the next episode, and genuinely I do want to see where this actually goes. And again, once this whole thing is over with, for sure we're gonna check. I'm probably gonna look at the light novel or the eroge manga or whatever the hell it's out there, because this shit's wild. This shit is honestly some of the most wildest stuff that has come out in a recent memory. And to be honest, it's in the category of like a top 5 to me, right? It's in there somewhere. I just have to figure out where that shit is. But anyway, still really good episode. And again, if you haven't watched this show, you really should. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's boy Jay, sign off. Have a blessed day.